Hey YouTube, it's been a while. As you can see, I'm still working on the Lebaron. I've been having issues trying to find the correct fittings that I need for the AN lines. But as you can see, still here, it's getting there. But that's actually not why I'm making this video. Recently, I got this thing running, got it out, and then the intake manifold split in the rear, so I am working on getting that done. I was going to be doing other mods to it while I'm working on it. But yeah, the intake was actually already replaced at one point, and it was a Dorman intake. The plastic is not as thick as on an actual Ford intake, so I will be using a Ford one. It's not that expensive, but here it is. It's split right in the back right here, and this is eaten away from the coolant because the coolant wasn't changed much, so the heater line also popped off. But yeah, here I will also explain what I plan on doing. This engine is the small port NPI. When I first put the engine in here, when I got it out of the donor car, it should have been a PI because the donor car was a 2001. But apparently this engine was swapped in at one point in that car, and then when I swapped it in this one, I didn't realize it because I did not look close enough. But oh well, it's still a good motor. No idea how many miles are on it though, but it ran nice. But I have underdrive pulleys I'm going to be putting on it. Going to be swapping out the water pump because it has some play in it, and it's just a good idea just to swap it out. Here is the new plenum I plan on installing. It's much larger than the old plenum, both in width and slight height. It also is smoother on the inside, so the air will flow better. Here is the new underdrive water pump pulley with the old stock one. The reason for an underdrive pulley is it slows down the water pump, causing less drag on the motor, so it allows more power. I'm also going to be getting a larger throttle body to allow more air to come into the motor. I also have an underdrive crank pulley, and I'm removing the clutch fan. The 92 up until 97, which this car is, it's a 97, had both an electric and a clutch fan. The electric only came on with the AC, and then the clutch fan, which is driven off the water pump. I am going to just go to a straight electric fan setup. It'll give me extra horsepower just from the weight that's just off the front of the motor, and it will allow for more room so more air can actually flow through it. I don't know if I'm going to reuse the stock electric fan or not. I need to measure it. I might just be able to just use the old stock electric fan, then get a smaller electric fan for the AC condenser. because I still want the computer to control a fan, because if it doesn't, the AC will not work, and I do not want to deal with that. But yes, that is what I am currently working on with this car. I will say this, when the coolant went off, it steam cleaned the underhood of the car, cleaned up everything. But yes, I plan on having a pusher fan on the front of the condenser, and then I'll have a polar fan right here. Actually, I might just reuse the stock fan. But yes, if anything happens, I will probably show putting the intake on, and any other mods I get for the car. It's not going to be overly fast, but that's not what this car is for. This is just supposed to be just a nice cruiser. If I want fast, I'll drive the green Grand Prix I have, or the Lebaron when I finally get done with it, which I have no idea when that'll be. It'll probably be a few years. But yep, any more updates, I will post them. Sorry, this was more kind of a rambling kind of a thing, but you know, it happens. Oh yeah, I never actually compared the two plenums, I just explained them. Yes. Here is the old plenum. It's really small, especially in this area. It actually necks down too. There's actually a cutout divoted in it. And then compared to this one, which actually has a kick out, so it's wider. No. Old. No. Old. Also getting a larger throttle body, because this car's stock only has a 70mm, even though this one looks like it's been cleaned out before, but I'm not gonna mess with it. The vacuum lines are different, so I am going to have to get some adapters, mainly because this is for a Mustang. They don't really make anything specific for a Panther platform car, so I'll kind of have to get a little creative. But the main problem is there's two vacuum lines right here, only one here, so I'm gonna have to get a T and go off of it that way, because there's for the evap and the positive crankcase. Then I'm keeping the EGR because most of the emissions still work. Actually, all of the emissions still work. It just has a bad catalytic converter, one of the 4. Those are probably going to get cut out. And replaced or tuned out or something later. But yeah, car should have more grunt. Only left with 200 from the, well, 210 from the factory, because this is a very rare and odd car. It is a Mercury Grand Marquis, but it is a police spec Grand Marquis. It has all the oil coolers, the beefier suspension, and dual exhaust from the factory. And according to Ford, supposedly only Crown Victorias were supposed to have that, but this car has on the codes, which you can't see, but they're in here, it has a bunch of lines for special order codes, which supersede the allowable factory order codes that give it the police suspension and coolers. It also has the 323 rear locker. It also still has the mounting hardware for the front push bar, which is odd because you would think a Grand Marquis they would use as a undercover car, but apparently at one point this car had lights and everything. Nothing drilled in the roof, but it had the wires going to the back window and wires going to the grill, so it was kind of undercovered, but it did have lights. But yes, when I get more parts and start putting it together, I'll make another video. But yeah, there it is. 200,000 miles. Still kind of a bummer that the motor isn't a PI, because I kind of... But oh well, I only spent $150 on the engine. The car it came from only had 70,000. I have no idea how many miles this motor had. But this blames me for checking. And if you're wondering, the reason why I couldn't tell just from the intake is because Dorman's PI and MPI intake have the same basic runner shape on the top, so I couldn't tell. Probably should have known, because and when I swapped it, I had to swap my aluminum crossover because the MPIs, at least the 97s, have two temp sensors, one for the gauge, one for the computer. But yeah, there she is. And that is what I'm doing for it. Oh dear. So, and this has really become a rambling fest, so I'll just turn it off now. Talk to you later.